What's going on, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Before we get into today's video, I wanted to show you all a pretty cool bait that I just got. It's the I'm a Shaker. This bait's been around a long time. This is actually one of the baits I that made me fall in love with I'm lures. It's one that me and my brother used to kind of fight over because we only had one back in the day. But this is a really cool bait. This is a flat-sided bait. It's really loud. It's got a circuit board lip. To me, this almost acts like a rattle trap, like a lipless style bait. But it has a lip, so I'm able to fish it up in and around cover. So this time of year, getting the backs of these creeks, even some main lake places, with rock transitions, wood, that is an absolute killer. And you guys are gonna wanna check that one out. And I'll leave a link to Tackle Warehouse below. But with that being said, let's dive into this video. We're gonna go over some organizational stuff, kind of like my mindset of how to keep my boat dialed in. I've got a lot of tackle, probably more tackle than most people. There's definitely some people that got me beat on that sort of thing, but I do have a lot. And for me, it's hard for me to kind of keep on top of like what I'm running low on or what I might have too much of. So a lot of times like I'll accidentally like overbuy something or underbuy something. Like I'll get to the lake and realize that I don't have a certain size weight, or I don't have a certain size whatever, or I have 1,000 of one thing and not anything else. So today's video, we're going to kind of go over that and kind of how I've gotten to store my my hooks, my weights, that kind of stuff, and as well as some baits. So without further ado, let's jump into this video. So if you didn't know, I'm with Ryuyu Japan. I feel like they make some of the best terminal tackle out there. It's stuff I've been using for a long time, even before I was with them. But they make something called the R-Tank, and that's just these green boxes like this. Spro copied them also, but basically it's pretty cool because it's a little case, super durable, but it has these clear kind of dividers, let's call it. Don't want to spill all my weights out, but it's cool because you can just pop that open, store your weights. I really need to label a lot of these, but for me, I'm kind of like an eyeball guy. Like to see, but this is like my free rig box. You can see this is like super small. This is like a free rig and drop shot weights. So this doesn't take up a ton of room, and I can fit an absolute ton of them in one case, rather than having like a generic terminal tackle box with like everything in it. I've started to like really dial in these smaller boxes. You can see this thing is not very big at all. I'll have it compared to like a 3700 size box that I typically carry a lot of stuff in, but that just makes it super, super easy to keep your weights in. So I've got that one with like my free rig stuff. This is like my Carolina rig box, which needs some love. My Carolina rig weights right here. These are great Carolina rig weights if you haven't tried them. They're really cool. It's got this tube in it. This is called the Beats. The tube protects your line, protects your knot. It's really cool. Whenever you're sliding around like shell and stuff, that tube just makes it come through cover so much easier. And it still has tungsten to tungsten contact, so it's still pretty loud. I got my beads in here. These are also pretty cool, these football weights. You can adjust whatever size hook you want on there. But like I said, typically if I'm gonna be dragging something, I'm gonna wanna have football stuff and Carolina rig stuff, so I kind of keep it in the same box. This box, like I said, needs some love, need to put some stuff in here. But just keeping it kind of like dialed, and I'm gonna put like similar techniques together. So like C-rig, wobble head, like that's gonna both dragging techniques. I can fit a ton of them in these little boxes, these R-Tanks. Here's like my regular sinkers, like right here. These are these black beans. I don't know if y'all have seen them yet, but really unique weight, really cool. I like these a lot whenever I almost want to like purposely kind of get it stuck in cover and I can pop it free. It's really great for wood too. Still got, your traditional like worm weights in here also. But I've also got like a punching box also that has some hooks and stuff in it too. Bobber stoppers, punch stops, that kind of stuff. But like most of the time, with the exception of like Florida or somewhere, like I don't need to keep my, let's call them, 5/8 and less sinkers with my 3/4 to 2 ounce sinkers in the boat with me all the time. Like those, especially living here in Georgia, like I don't need 2 ounce sinkers hardly ever. But I like to kind of keep those boxes way smaller, way smaller. And then let me show you what I do with my hooks. Kind of go back and forth to what I like. Previously, I ran these huge boxes. So this is just a giant, 3,700 deep waterproof. And it's got all of my like hooks in it. But this is just like normal hooks. Like this is going to be anything from like worm hooks, swim bait hooks. Basically, I've got like weighted brutals, like swim bait style hooks. I've got, some of these are running low. I need to restock. Infinities right there. I've got trailer hooks in here. Kind of the whole gamut of stuff. LT offsets, like basically every single style of hook that you could think of other than super finesse stuff. So I keep these. I used to keep these in the boat. Like I have this one. I have another one. This is all my finesse hooks. So this is all like Nico stuff, a little bit of like a few jig head stuff. Like here's a few Vespa heads for like strolling. But for the most part, it's like a lot of drop shot and Nico rig hooks. Like, heavy talismans. There's a regular guard talisman, which is cool. It's got like the mono guard. The brutal talisman, which is really slept on. That's a great one. But basically just kind of keep all of my hooks like this. And this is a really cool method. I'm going to keep doing this with this box, but I'm going to kind of fine tune it a little bit. I'm going to keep a lot of this stuff like in the truck. Or I might, if I'm going to an event, may pick through this a little more. Like I don't always need Vespas everywhere I'm going. I don't always need like the brutals everywhere I'm going or like the super light drop shot stuff. So Ryugi makes these cool cases, these hook binders. These are super cool. What I'll do is actually cut a piece of the packaging out and put it in there so it labels. So these are size 2 fog shots. Those are like drop shot stuff. Size 3, size 4, so on. Then we go to talismans, just like that. You can kind of fine tune. You can probably put 3 or 4 packs of hooks into one of these little slots and fit an absolute ton of hooks, and it doesn't take up a whole lot of space. So I'm able to put these little binders. Like here's one that's filled to the rim. So this is all like worm hooks. So there's like double edge 2-aught, double edge 3-aught, double edge 4-aught, double edge 5-aught. Then we go to affinity, 3-aught, 4-aught, 5-aught, and then limits, 3-aught, 4-aught, 5-aught. So basically 3-aught to 5-aught is definitely like my most used size. So I keep them in this, but like I'll keep like the oddball size hooks. Like if I need something super big or super small, I'll keep it in that big box and kind of either keep that in the truck, or if I'm going to an event where I think I might need a couple packs, I might throw a couple packs in like a Ziploc or something and add those on there. I want to show you a cool way. These are really neat. They hold so many hooks, but they don't take up a lot of space, which I really like. This is pretty cool. These are, I forgot what these are called. I think the item bag. Maybe the item bag's the bigger one, but these are really cool Ryugi bags that we have. See-through on top, but they're really durable. They actually come with dividers. I've took the dividers out, but it's just Velcro. You can actually get like 2 and 2 and divide it up a little bit. But I'm gonna show you what's really cool about this. Like, say I wanted to make this like kind of like my Nico / drop shot box. I can make that super easy, and it doesn't take up a ton of space in the boat. So like I can grab, here's some talismans, some drop shot hooks. I'm gonna put that right here in that, just like so. This is a cool little Ryugi box. This is called the free box. There's no dividers or anything. It's kind of small, but I got all my nail weights in here, my bands. I can even have enough room to put the pliers, the tool to put the O-rings on. So like Nico stuff, I can just easily put that in my bag like that. Drop shot and free rig stuff, I can easily slide that in that box also. And just like that, I have all my hooks, I have all my weights, I have all my equipment. I can keep, the pliers or whatever in there. Everything I need. I can even fit a couple packs of worms back here if I'm fishing with a buddy and I know I'm going to be on like a Nico drop shot bite. And just like that, I'm super dialed. This thing doesn't take up a ton of room. And just like that, it's super organized. It's fine-tuned. If I run out of something, I know quickly so I can restock it. And also, I don't like to keep my hooks in one place because we run the risk of rust. So I don't want them to all go bad if shit hits the fan. So having them in like a smaller printed pouch double waterproof, triple waterproof. That is the ultimate way for me to store terminal tackle. A little bit different. If it's something like that I'm gonna use a ton of, like these are all like 6-inch Sakamadas. Like I'm gonna fill them to the brim in these boxes. I feel like they keep them straight. I will say this, the higher end plastics, you're able to put them in boxes without them bending, doing anything. Like here's a Sakamada shad. Absolute no curl, like no problem. That one was like the most crooked way possible. It might have like a little bit of a thing, but not anything to deal with. Putting like, you know, lower quality brands, like they might kink up or whatever. But I like these boxes a lot for something like I'm gonna go through 1 million of them. And I like to be able to see my colors of stuff. Like I'm gonna use a lot of different colors of Sakamadas. I wanna see what I'm low on so I can restock. I've got a bunch, you know, in totes that I keep in the truck. And then I'll refill of this. Like this is 6-inch, need to refill a lot of different colors in that. I actually like the waterproof ones better. I need to switch those Sakamadas to a waterproof one. This is a really cool one. It's that same tote. This one's like all my like 7-inch minnows. So like here's a lot of like there's like the Flash J's, got the Raids. Like I keep them in this where I'm not probably gonna go through a ton of those on like a day of fishing. I might. But it's more like fine-tuned. Keep them in the packaging, they're pretty straight. I like that method too. Just the clamshells, you can't fit a ton of them in there, but I'll also do that like with Kitex or something like that, where it's just like kind of a weird thing to store. I'll do a lot of these like these tanks right here. Last but not least, I'll use these bags. These are gonna be stuff that's like kind of like my C-plan stuff that doesn't, not C-plan, but stuff that doesn't stay in the boat all the time, like specialty stuff. Like I think this is like, I need to go through and label everything. This is all like speed worms, I think. Nope, this is all lizards. So like I'm not always gonna put lizards in the boat, but when I do need them, I need them. So this is a cool way I can just grab this, restock it at the beginning of the year, kind of go see what I'm missing. You know, I don't use a ton of lizards, so you don't need to restock them a whole bunch, but it's something I like to keep in the truck just in case. I can fit 1 million of them in there, a bunch of different brand lizards and brush hogs and all that kind of stuff. And it's just super easy. They make a bunch of different sizes. They make the real long one, which is really great for like the worms and stuff, because you can actually like stagger the worms in here. Like certain brands like Netbait make really long packaging. So having that is super easy for that. They make different sizes. I'll show you the other sizes real quick. Some of the other stalkers. So it's just, like here's a little bit different shape compared to this real long one. So they make a bunch of different, you know, shapes and sizes and stuff. I just kind of dictate that on like how much I'm going to use something. Or like if I'm going to use like real long worms, you know, I need to fit like, if I'm like at a ledge tournament, I want to keep a ton of different, you know, different color worms. You know, I might throw them in here. It's not something I need to throw all the time. It's just something I can grab and throw in the boat. Like super, super easy. Hard baits are kind of similar. So this is like a deep cranking box. I think I have 10 deep diving crankbait boxes. I really like to crank. You can see here though, like there's a lot of stuff that like hasn't been thrown. This is a lot of like backup stuff. But like I'll make boxes for specific tournaments. So like if I know I'm going to be kind of like, I don't know what depth range they're going to be in. Like say, yeah, you know, it's post-spawn tournament. There's probably some fish from 10 foot of water to 30 foot of water. Like I'm gonna make sure that I have like my 5XDs, size stuff. I'll keep like a little bit of it, and I'll have more in other boxes that I'll keep in the truck. But I just want like a few colors, basically, a few of my favorite colors and a couple different baits, just to kind of get me by the first couple of days of practice, and still catch fish, or like that one right there, rather than like, you know, it only being DTs or only being Strike King. I'll kind of like mix and match like kind of my favorite plugs, especially like when I'm going to practice. Like if I really get dialed in, I might like throw a couple like bigger plugs in there. And if I catch them on the bigger plugs and stuff, then I'll bring the whole big plug box. You know, this is all like 10XDs and like bigger style crankbaits. Got a lot of the OSP stuff in here, DRTs. I even got some big square bills in here. Just like bigger baits. I'm gonna start throwing those. Like I don't need to bring this whole box with me if I'm unsure. So I'll like grab a couple of my favorite ones throw them in the boat, and in that, you know, generalized deep cranking box, I'll make a specific box for a specific lake I'm going to, rather than carrying all this tackle in the boat. I do carry a lot of tackle, but I'm kind of just trying to narrow my process down. I can only keep a couple colors that I really like, that I really throw, and it makes it way easier to kind of manage what I have, what I don't have, what I need to get more of. So swim baits, I've also narrowed down. Like this is a really small, this is called Miho, so it's distributed by Spro. I'm not sure if I'm saying that right. I absolutely love their boxes. They're really cool. They have a bunch of different shapes and designs. It's kind of that one single hinge design that Plano's made one too. I'm gonna try that one. But as of right now, these are like my favorite boxes. They come with dividers, yada, 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 but I can actually take them all out. So like this is like my tournament only kind of glide bait stuff. So like the Scottsboro stuff, DRT, clutch darter, just stuff I know that are like tournament baits. And I'll have another one that's like gonna be, if I go to like a specialty place, like a Gunnersville or like a Sam Rayburn or wherever that might be more conducive to like throwing like a really big bait, then I'll make a separate one kind of with a couple bigger baits. But I can fit so many baits in this little bitty box. And these are, you know, not small baits by any means. They're all like at least 6.5 inch baits each, which is pretty cool. I can fit all of them in there. I'll also like kind of make boxes by like style. So this is like all my wintertime cold water cranking stuff. So like there's gonna be a couple baits that like they're the same baits in other boxes. But like it makes it super easy for me because I can be like, oh, these are all proven cold water killers, even though I might have a DT6 in a warm water box or more like a traditional, like just, you know, mid-depth crankbait box. I might have one of those. I might have this one. It's just going to be more dictated on like color for the most part. Like you can see like a lot of reds and stuff. Megabass Wheel Griffin, that's one they don't make anymore. That's an absolute killer. That's chock full of them. You know, you got some, that one's cracked, that sucks. Black Label stuff, bunch of different baits, just like proven cold water baits, like Lucky Craft Square Bill. Like that's the one that works year round, but I might have that exact same bait in another box in my just traditional square bill box. This just, for me, I'm able to just kind of keep the stuff I need and kind of like a more generalized. This kind of goes against what I was saying about downsizing because it's going to take a million years to get to the bottom of this box. But I like to be able to keep kind of what I need kind of together rather than a bunch of separate boxes. So like having the cold water box kind of covers me from November to pre-spawn as far as like muddy water cranking. And then my other stuff is like more fine-tuned to more like post-spawn, that kind of stuff, more like brim kind of colors, shad kind of colors. These are more like shad and crawl kind of colors, if that makes sense. I know that was a lot. That's a lot of tackle to kind of go over, but that's kind of like the generalized way of how I organize tackle. Once we get the boat back, I'll show you how I have everything like set up in the boat, where I put stuff, where it makes it super efficient for me, whether I want to grab a crankbait or a lizard, you know, make it super efficient and know where everything's out. I'm going to get to labeling. I've got a big mess on my hands that I just made. So guys, please like and subscribe. Check out the Tackle Warehouse link below. I appreciate y'all watching the channel. Thanks.